Remembered as one of the seminal sitcoms from the early days of television, the Leave It to Beaver cast had a massive impact on popular culture. The show aired for 6 seasons starting in 1957, and it became a cultural touchstone for the late 50s and early 60s. In this video, you will see how have the actors of the movie Leave It to Beaver change. You will know their real names and age. I will show you how they looked then, in 1957, and what's with them now, in 2025. Okay, let's see together. Tony Dow played Wally Cleaver. Born April 13, 1945. Tony Dow co-starred in Leave It to Beaver as Wally, the eldest child of the Cleaver clan, and his teenage problems offered a change of pace from the Beaver-centric episodes. Wally was seen as an all-American teen and an ideal that young men should strive for at the time. He was intelligent and athletic while also being polite to his parents and teachers. Age filming, 12 years old. Wally Cleaver was Dow's first major role, and he found great success throughout the 60s and 70s on shows like Never Too Young. As Dow's acumen grew, he began working behind the scenes and even directed episodes of shows like Star Trek, Deep Space Nine and Coach. One of Dow's final acting roles came in the 2003 film Dickie Roberts, former child star. He passed away in 2022 at the age of 77. Ken Osmond played Eddie Haskell. Born June 7, 1943. Introduced during the show's first season, Ken Osmond played the neighborhood troublemaker Eddie Haskell throughout the original run of Leave It to Beaver. Eddie was one of the most comical characters on the show as he was overly polite and eager to please the grown-ups around them, but was really a sneaky and scheming troublemaker. He also picked on Beaver often, making him an even more untrustworthy and unsavory character. Age filming, 14 years old. Osmond had made a handful of TV appearances before Leave It to Beaver on shows like Lassie. But work was slow for the typecast actor after the sitcom ended. Osmond departed show business to pursue other career endeavors before returning to TV in shows like Parker Lewis Can't Lose, where he mostly reprised the Haskell persona. Osmond died at the age of 76 in 2020 from complications of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Sue Randall played Miss Alice Landers. Born October 8, 1935. Sue Randall had only been acting on television for 3 years when she picked up the role as Miss Landers on Leave It to Beaver. Her first appearance on the show came in 1958 in the episode, Ward's Problem. She wasn't Beaver Cleaver's first teacher, as she replaced Miss Canfield, Diane Brewster, who was his teacher when the series started. Beaver had a childhood crush on his teacher, which was often played for fun. Age filming, 22 years old. Other than Leave It to Beaver, Sue Randall appeared in mostly supporting or featured guest roles on TV shows, with many parts in westerns like Bronco, Steve Canyon, The Real McCoys, Bonanza, and The Rifleman. She also had appearances on TV shows like 77 Sunset Strip, The Fugitive, and in 2 episodes of The Twilight Zone. Her last role came in 1967 in Vacation Playhouse, and she retired from acting. Sue Randall died of lung and larynx cancer in 1984 at 49. Doris Packer played Mrs. Rayburn. Born May 30, 1904. Doris Packer had an acting career that lasted for 22 years. But her most notable role came thanks to Leave It to Beaver. She appeared on the show for the first time in the premiere episode, Beaver Gets Spelled, where she starred as Mrs. Cornelia Rayburn. While she was only in 17 episodes of the series, she was on the sitcom for all 6 seasons as the elementary school principal. Age filming, 53 years old. After playing the principal at Beaver Cleaver's elementary school, Grant Avenue School, she also appeared as a wealthy socialite in other popular sitcoms and shows. She had roles in The George Burns and Gracie Allen Show, I Love Lucy, The Andy Griffith Show, and Happy. Her final role came in 1975 in the Hal Ashby movie Shampoo. Doris Packer died 4 years later, in 1979, from natural causes at the age of 74. Richard Deacon played Fred Rutherford. Born May 14, 1922. Richard Deacon was a movie and TV actor who appeared on several shows and some of the most iconic cinematic films. He starred as Fred Rutherford in Leave It to Beaver, starting in season 1 and making appearances until the 6th season. Fred is Lumpy's dad, who often defends his son despite his bullying and vindictive actions. Fred is also one of Ward's co-workers and friends. Age filming, 35 years old. Deacon had appearances in TV shows like The Lucy Dacey Comedy Hour, The Danny Thomas Show, Perry Mason, and more. However, he also had small roles in some of the most notable movies of his time. He has roles in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, and Billy Wilder's The Spirit of St. Louis. He also returned in 1983 for Still the Beaver. Richard Deacon died 1 year later, in 1984 at the age of 62. Pamela Baird played Mary Ellen Rogers, born April 6, 1945, while Pamela Baird only appeared in 6 episodes of Leave It to Beaver. That was in all 5 seasons of the show, with 1 appearance in each and 2 in season 4. Despite her limited appearances, she played Mary Ellen Rogers, one of Wally's friends and one of his girlfriends. She was someone who mostly went to the movies with Wally throughout the series. Age filming, 12 years old. Baird got her start at a young age, as her first role was as a 10-year-old in the movie Good Morning, Miss Dove. In addition to Leave It to Beaver, she also appeared in Father Knows Best, The Danny Thomas Show, and Perry Mason. Baird retired from acting in 1964 when she was 19. However, she did return in 1987, when she played an uncredited role in the new Leave It to Beaver. Now she is 80 years old. Cheryl Holdridge as Julie Foster. Born June 20, 1944, Cheryl Holdridge played Julie Pfister, another of Wally's girlfriends on Leave It to Beaver, while Mary Ellen Rogers was on the show for the first 5 seasons. Julie made her first appearance in Season 4's Teacher's Daughter. She then appeared in 8 episodes through the 6th season, where she had 3 appearances. In some interesting trivia, Holdridge also appeared in the 2nd and 3rd seasons, but there, she played a character named Gloria, a completely different character. Age filming, 13 years old. Holdridge started her career as a 12-year-old in stage plays, but she gained more acclaim when she joined the Mickey Mouse Club in 1956. Holdridge retired from acting in 1964 to get married. Holdridge returned as Julie for the new Leave to Beaver in 1985 and 1987. Cheryl Holdridge died in 2009 from lung cancer at the age of 64. Jerry Mathers as Theodore Beaver Cleaver. Born June 2, 1948. Perfectly cast as the young Theodore Beaver Cleaver. Jerry Mathers played the character in every episode of the show, though Beaver is a very tame sitcom kid by today's standards. He was seen as a bit of a rebellious spirit on the show, always preferring to mess around with his friends and read comic books. The episodes often found him getting into trouble and learning important lessons as a result. Age filming, 9 years old. Though Leave It to Beaver is what made him famous, Mathers had already been working in show business for years by the time he landed the part. He appeared alongside Shirley MacLaine in Hitchcock's The Trouble with Harry in 1955. And after Leave It to Beaver he continued to work mostly in TV. However, by the 2000s, Mathers had largely stepped away from show business. His most recent appearance was in the 2008 TV movie Mother Goose Parade. Now he is 77 years old. Rusty Stevens played Larry Mondello. Born 1948, appearing during the show's first 3 seasons. Robert Rusty Stevens played the lovable Larry Mondello, who was one of the Beaver's best friends. He was known for his love of candy bars and for not always being the sharpest kid around. His foolishness often led Beaver astray and caused him to get into trouble. Stevens's first big role came in Leave It to Beaver, but he only scored a few other TV roles in the immediate years following his departure from the show. Age filming, 9 years old. After stepping away from acting for years, he returned as Larry in the forgotten TV revival Still the Beaver and even showed up in 3 episodes of the subsequent reboot series The New Leave It to Beaver in the 1980s. Following his appearances in that nostalgic resurrection of the beloved sitcom, Stevens left show business in 1989. Now he is 77. Stephen Talbot played Gilbert Bates. Born February 28, 1949. Just looking to fit in with the boys, Gilbert Bates was a sensitive friend of the Beaver, and he was played brilliantly by Stephen Talbot on the sitcom. Gilbert started as another troublesome kid whose antics got Beaver into trouble. He was also a loudmouth who was prone to telling lies to make himself seem more impressive. However, he eventually became a good friend to Beaver. Leave It to Beaver was Talbot's breakout role, and he continued to act in one-off TV appearances in Perry Mason and The Twilight Zone during the 60s. Age filming, 8 years old. Eschewing acting by the 1980s, Talbot found great success as a news producer on the series' frontline and scored a host of major awards including Emmys and Peabodys for his reporting. As of 2023, Talbot continues to work behind the scenes as a news and documentary producer. Now he is 76. Barbara Billingsley played June Cleaver. Born December 22, 1915. Remembered as the quintessential TV mom, Barbara Billingsley was the picture of the mid-century homemaker in Leave It to Beaver as June Cleaver. June is a loving and caring mother who fits into the archetypal housewife role at the time. Some of the most outdated aspects of the classic sitcom revolve around how June is depicted and the discussions of a woman's role in the household. Age filming, 42 years old. Billingsley had acted in dozens of uncredited roles throughout the 40s and 50s. But Leave It to Beaver was one of her first starring roles. Billingsley's final role came in the 2003 TV movie Secret Santa. She died at the age of 94 in 2010. Hugh Beaumont played Ward Beaver. Born February 16, 1910. Age filming, 47 years old. Usually ranked among the best dads in TV history, Ward Cleaver was a firm but fair father of the time period. Ward was seen as the moral compass of the series, with his main role in the show being the one who would teach his sons the important lessons they needed to learn in each of the episodes. Hugh Beaumont, who played Ward, had made a career out of playing thugs and villains in a multitude of action films in the 40s and 50s. But he transitioned to more paternal roles after Leave It to Beaver's success. Barring a cinematic appearance in the B-movie The Human Duplicators in 1965. He played small roles on TV in shows like Wagon Train and Mannix in the 60s and 70s. After over a decade away from show business, Beaumont passed away in 1982 at the age of 72. Stanley Fafara played Whitey Whitney. Born September 20, 1949. The best and most successful shows usually have a large supporting cast to supplement the stars. And Stanley Fafara brought a lot of personality to Beaver's friend Whitey Whitney. Unlike some of Beaver's other friends in the show, Whitey remained for the entire series. Age filming, 8 years old. Fafara had appeared in the series Casey Jones in the same year he landed his role on Leave It to Beaver, and he appeared almost exclusively on TV during the show's run. Fafara's final non-Leave It to Beaver role came in the 1962 film The Wonderful World of the Brothers Grimm. The actor battled drug and alcohol addiction for much of his time after the show, eventually becoming clean and sober later in life. He left show business and died in 2003 at the age of 53 after nearly 40 years away from acting. Frank Bank played by Clarence, Lumpy, Rutherford. Born April 12, 1942. Age filming, 15 years old. Leave It to Beaver produced a host of child stars, and Frank Bank's entire career came to be defined by his turn as Clarence, Lumpy, Rutherford, the older bully who often tormented the Beaver and his friends. He later becomes Wally's friend despite still remaining something of a bully. He is also the son of Ward's co-worker Fred, with his father being constantly annoyed with his daddy's boy behavior and hilarious referring to him as Lumpy only when he is angry at him. Bank had previously appeared in an episode of Father Knows Best, and Leave It to Beaver was ostensibly his big break in show business. Little work came for Bank following Leave It to Beaver, though he reprised his role as Lumpy when the sitcom was turned into a movie in 1997. Bank passed away in 2013 at the age of 71.